Hello? Hello? My hair's been looking frizzy lately. And I don't know how I feel about this situation. It's like wide at the bottom. I don't know. I've been putting it up a lot and I either need to cut it short again or I need to suck it up and let it grow out again. I don't know. Anyway, hi, welcome. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. I wasn't anticipating making this video, but I was working on this project that I haven't even started painting yet, and I felt like I really needed to kind of talk it out and hash it out talking, and I thought, man, if I was watching another creator do this kind of thing, talk through decisions that they're wanting to make on a painting before they've even painted it and kind of show visually what they're thinking about, I would really enjoy that kind of video. I would really enjoy that. So I thought, okay, well maybe I'll just make that video for myself here. So I'll do a little bit of explaining, a little intro, and then we'll get started with a different camera angle so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So I have this painting. It's kind of hard to show you exactly because there's one of the decisions that I'm making is what color background am I going to do. So if you follow me on Instagram, you probably know that I've been working on this drawing for a while. There we go. So it's this drawing of a couple of Carolina wrens and some jasmine, yellow jasmine, state bird, state flower of South Carolina, where I live. I also just really love both of these items. I love jasmine, no matter what type of jasmine it is, I love jasmine. I have some growing on my porch. It is not this variety. I think it's called star jasmine. It's a white variety. You see it in Charleston a lot. It's really beautiful. It smells amazing. It grows like a vine. So I've got some of that. I also really love Carolina wrens. Their song is really pleasant to me, and it reminds me of like childhood, these happy memories that I have growing up in the woods as like a feral sort of child, and that feeling in the springtime when the weather starts to change and all of the birds start coming out, and waking up in the morning to hearing that sound is very like comforting and grounding and feels really wonderful. So I'm really excited about this painting. It's going to help me get back into watercolor illustrations. So yeah, but now I'm kind of feeling stuck. I had it in my head exactly what color background I was going to do and how I was going to do that, but it's not what I've done in the past, so I was feeling a little bit nervous about it, and then I thought, well shoot, what if I did something really wild, like the really bright sort of orangey, pinky, neon sort of color that I just showed you. That would be fun. Maybe I should do that. And then it kind of got me down this rabbit hole of different background colors, and also another element that I could add in that I'll show you as well. It's a whole thing. So I thought, okay, well maybe I will make several different options, post it on Patreon, let my patrons decide which one I should do. But the more I work on it, the more I'm not so sure, and I don't know, and I've got all these different reasons why I should do this versus I should do that, and spiraled. So hence coming to this video. Here we are. So I'm gonna take you along with me. I'm just going to talk it out and show you on my iPad, as well as some physical printed versions that I've just made, just to see. Let's just talk it out. And I'm excited to hash this out with you and talk it out with you and see where we land on it. I'm really torn. I don't know what to do. All right, let's get going. Okay. just move my stuff out of the way. So we can actually see what we're doing. This is super fun content, isn't it? All right, so this is the piece all drawn out, ready to go. I just haven't started it because I've encountered these quandaries, if you will. Typically, I would do the background first, and I would either do a dark background like this, or I would do a yellow ochre background like this. So this is kind of the vibe I'm going for. Obviously it won't have the dead mouse in it. That was a very specific request from the client who originally got this piece. I don't really remember where I was. I had to move a bunch of stuff around to get a better shot for you guys. But you can't see the whole thing of this, I know, but the point is the background color. The point is how the background is done. This is how I used to do backgrounds almost all the time in regards to watercolor paintings. This was just kind of my go-to, and I really like it with this piece, but I definitely know for sure that I don't want that for the Carolina Wrens. I want a different color, a different feel, a different vibe. The image themselves, like the birds themselves, the leaves and everything, will probably be pretty similar. I'm going to do something a little bit different with the leaves, but this is kind of the general overall feel as far as the Carolina Wrens go. So this is the idea. The question is, though, a couple of different elements with the background. One, the background color. Two, the material that I use for the background. And three, there's an option to put some like soft in the background leaves that is going to make the background color choice and material choice that much more complicated. So that's where we're at. I know for sure I don't want to do the black background on the Carolina Wrens. I've already tried it in Procreate. I hated it. Just looking at it, I just think it's going to be too dark. It's too moody. That's not the vibe that I'm going for. Question is, what is the vibe I'm going for? So let's look at it. Okay, here we go. I'm feeling good about this shot. So I'm feeling really good about this color background. I'm not sure if it's reading how I want it to read in this shot. From my view, looking at this, it looks way more orange, and it's actually kind of this like sort of orangey hot pink. More so hot pink, neon pink, bright, fun. It's not orange. So we'll see how this is actually going to look once I get it up on a screen and not on my camera screen here. But just think less orange, more hot pink. I'm really stoked on this. It's so much fun. This was kind of a wild hair sort of idea that I had. I was just like, what if I did hot pink? That could be fun. Totally different. I don't know how I feel about that. Tried it and I was like, actually, that's really beautiful. And it's so much fun. It's so bright and cheerful and kind of exciting looking. Love that. But is it too much? Is it just too much? Because this, mind you, was my original idea. Originally, and again, the colors might be a little bit off and weird on here. On the screen, it's looking way more green, less sort of this neutral brownish, yellowish green. Like, yes, it is green, but I want it to read a little bit more on the brown and yellow side of green, as opposed to like this being green. This was my original idea. I was thinking more subtle, more subdued, still kind of dark and moody like the yellow ochre from the owl painting, but a little bit more classic. I just wanted it originally to look old, to look vintage, to look like it belonged in an antique shop. That's what I was going for. But when I put this green color down, it kind of swallow the greens in the leaves. Obviously, I can choose a different color green for the leaves. That will be fine. I can do that. But does it kind of negate the leaves? Does it make it look too same? Everything is the same. Is it boring? It might be boring. I'm not sure. So I'm feeling conflicted on this color. Then there's another color that I like to use sometimes, which is a blue, sort of a gray blue. The thing about gray blue is, while I do genuinely love this color, I just feel like I see it everywhere right now. HGTV. Everything is a gray blue. Everything, everything, everything. And I'm so kind of tired of this color in home decor. It's just, as much as I genuinely love the color, it's been there, done that. Let's move on. I'm getting bored of it. Please, let's go somewhere else. So even though this is really nice, and this kind of makes the greens and the leaves pop a little bit more, everything is saying a little bit more, everything's a little more bright and fun and contrasty, I guess, I'm still just not, I'm feeling kind of over this color in general in my life. So then we have this color here. Now, you may know that I'm a pretty big fan of this color. It's not white, it's not bright, it is an off-white, it is a neutral, but it still makes everything pop, like the subject matter, the leaves, the flowers, the birds. This one is kind of an easy choice. It's an easy choice. It's not too far off from the yellow ochres in this piece here. You can kind of see, like, I added some more yellows, some darker tones here, but you see that color showing up right here. And that's really nice. That's really nice. You can also see it more, excuse me, sorry little mouse. You can see it up in here. So if I just kind of left out the darker swatches here, the darker areas and the less yellow, if I just did more of this sort of off-white color, that could be really nice. So, okay, am I feeling that color now? Is that kind of what I'm leaning towards? Maybe, that's a good option. But then we also try a more pale pink, a less in-your-face sort of pink, a more like pasty sort of color. You can kind of see it here, even like in that corner. This is a container of paint that I have. You can see it here. So do we like this sort of pale, peachy color? I like this too, but does this read more, this belongs in like a nursery sort of look? Do we like this hanging in our kitchen? Do we like this hanging in our guest room? Do I like it hanging in my hallway? Do I want it hanging in my living room? I'm not sure. Or do I want the classic, the more brown tones? I wonder if we could even try, let's do, okay, do we like this brown color? Is that nice? Do we want to go lighter with it? I don't know, are we really starting to mess with it here? Okay, that could be nice, but I think that interacts with the browns in the bird a little bit too much. I think we need to stay more in the like greenish yellows. Not too green though. Maybe this guy? See, that's too green. I just feel like it kind of washes everything out. It's not punchy enough. Definitely feeling this. I do like this. But like, is this too boring? Again, is it too boring? And then let's go back to the original, real loud, punchy, fun, wild color. Okay, I love this so much. But again, is it too much? Is it too bright, too punchy, is it just too much? Should I lean into the too much? I'm not sure here. Okay, so first of all, I need to pick a color. But something else I've been thinking of is the color that I choose might determine what type of medium I need to use for that background color, which is really going to throw a wrench into everything. And here's what I mean by that. My original thought is that I was going to do this background color-ish, more or less, with gouache. Gouache is a little bit more opaque. It goes on kind of flat, and then the watercolor is going to go on much more like this guy. Is going to be, there's going to be a lot of depth to it. It's going to be kind of luminous, and that's going to be so much fun. That will work just fine. I can do that. But as soon as I get into this realm, or this realm, or this realm, suddenly I'm thinking, do I have a gouache that is that color? Can I make a gouache that color? Is that going to work? Or am I going to need to use acrylic? Because normally when I look at these colors, what I see is acrylic paintings that I've done in the past. I've done acrylic with that color, and this one, and this one. I know those colors. I can make those colors. I have some of those colors sitting here right next to me. But that I think is going to look really odd. I don't think I'm comfortable with that. And here's why. Because the acrylic is going to look like this. That's the background for acrylic. So we're going to set that here. So then you've got this flat, thick, sort of like thick, textural, almost obnoxious sort of paint as the background behind this soft, layered, watercolor, luminous light coming through, soaks into the paper, whereas this is going to sit on top of the paper. Is that gonna look absolutely atrocious? It's possible. It's possible. Now, one thing that I could do to sort of help with all of this, mitigate it, is I could make a couple of smaller studies where I do just like one bird or just a flower even, and I kind of do my experiments to see how I like it with the acrylic on the background. I could do that, and that's an option. Maybe I will do that. That's going to take a lot more time. That's going to mean that this painting is going to take a lot longer for me to produce this painting. That might kind of cramp my style a little bit. I don't know. So, am I willing to do all of that for this painting? Perhaps. Perhaps. Another option is to just go ahead and do the gouache. But here's another concern. Maybe concern is not the word. Here's something else that I'm thinking about. This all looks fine and good. I love it. We're loving this. Something else that I could add, I could do this, is a layer of sort of soft, in the background behind everything, leaves. These leaves probably won't have a solid line around them like everything else does. You see this a lot in tattoo design. I've used it in my own tattoos. I just tattooed a client that had some work that we did like this on them a few years ago. It's really beautiful. It makes everything that's lined like this with the dark black outlines, it makes those things kind of pop to the front. And then you've got these soft bits in the background. And honestly, I could probably even reduce, we could make those softer. Yeah, that would be nice. Let's put it right there. So that could be really cool. That's going to add a little bit of depth. I love that. If I choose to add these bits, that's going to completely change my decision making in regards to what materials I use for the background color. It's also going to change the order in which I paint things. Typically, I would paint the background color first and then slowly work my way forward. I probably go from background color to branches to leaves to flowers to birds. And as I'm working, I'm becoming more comfortable with the painting, and I'm able to tweak things as I go, change things as I go, until I get to the birds when I'm feeling way, like, the most comfortable that I can with my medium. Because I don't paint like this every single day, and honestly not even every single month. And so it's nice to kind of work from background to foreground, from less important subject to most important subject, so that I can slowly but surely get used to the medium again and feel comfortable with the layering and the effects that I want to achieve. However, if I do these soft background leaves, I can't do the background color and then just put these leaves on top. That's not going to work. The thing about gouache, at least the type of gouache that I have, is it will like wake up if I start working into it again. So I can't just put down a layer and leave it and it's going to stay there. I'm going to have to put down a layer, leave it, and then when I add these leaves on top of it, it's going to kind of muddy. It's going to pick up the color that I already did, the pink, and it's going to blend in with it. Now, one option maybe is to use something called workable fixative. Workable fixative is, I mostly use it for when I'm using graphite. If I want to put pencil lines down on something and then I want those to stay put and not smudge when I do something else, you spray the workable fixative. It adheres what you've already done to the painting and allows you to work in layers and not smudge the layers that you've already done. If I use workable fixative after I've done the background color, is that going to prevent my watercolors from soaking into the paper once I get to these bits? It might. I'm not sure. I've not tried this before. Again, I could do a couple of different studies just to see what happens. I could not paint the birds. I could just paint whatever, paint a little swatch, a little blob, and spray it, and then try to paint watercolor on top of it and see what happens. That's an option. I see a lot of experimentation in my future, my very near future, as I'm working this out. So honestly, I think I've about covered it as far as everything that I'm thinking of. Another thing I guess we should show is how these soft leaves in the background change depending on what color background I choose to use. So that's something else that I need to be thinking of, like how does that completely change the feel? That one's really nice. But like, does it need to be softer? Maybe. And then, well, here's the brown one. That kind of completely swallows them. And then that green one, the original green, that really swallows them. I have to really bring that color up, the opacity, for those lighter, softer leaves. And then I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, is this too busy? Is it too busy? Is it too much? Is it better if it's just simple like that? I think I'm leaning towards it just being simple without the soft leaves in the background. As much as this plant is a really busy plant and it spreads and it grows just like any other vine, I'm not sure. I just think from an art perspective, I prefer the more simple look of just being able to see what's going on. Oi, 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 y'all. What in the world? See, it's still not leaning towards that blue. I'm kind of leaving it out entirely. Still on the fence about this one. I think my favorites are this guy here. I like that punchy color. I really like this one. But again, I'm wondering if that's too boring. Obviously, I could put a really bright, wild, fun color behind this. Since it's watercolor, I would only be able to put that in the background color. I couldn't do a full wash like I normally do on my acrylic paintings and then paint everything on top of it. I would have to just paint with like the neon pink or something on the background color and then paint this on top of the background color. Not sure how that would go. We'll just have to see. And then I do still like my original idea. It's just a vibe, I guess. I guess it's like, what feeling do I want to have when I look at it? Do I want to have the vintage antique shop English cottage sort of feeling? Do I want to have bright, easy breezy, plain Jane, nothing crazy, classic, beautiful sort of look? Or do I want bright, punchy, fun, definitely not English cottage, definitely not antique shop, definitely not plain Jane, certainly not boring. Do I want that kind of look? This is my dilemma. Another thing I did was print out some examples. So these are just prints I made straight from the drawings. They're a little bit darker, the color's a little bit off because I haven't really tweaked anything. But, and then this is the original sort of classic antique shop looking one, English cottage. I like a little bit better over here for the pink one. So I like doing this. It just kind of gives me a physical representation so I can just see a physical print of it. Another option, yet another option, is I could also make whatever painting I want to make, take a really good photograph of it or a scan of it, put it in the computer, pop it into Procreate, and then paint the background color. Like in Procreate, digitally change the colorway and then make prints of that. So then I could have, it would be a lot of work, but I could have my cake and eat it too. I could have all of these different options in print form, and it would be, the background color would be digital. That is an option that I'm considering. I'm also considering maybe offering it as a postcard, greeting card set, postcard on Patreon. I'm not really sure. So I'm working out those ideas too of just different ways that I can offer it to the public. So these are all of my thoughts. We're still working on it. So that's why we're here, to chat about it. All right. That's it for today. I really appreciate you watching my video and listening to me chat about my whole thought process and materials and everything that kind of is going into this painting. And my brain is fried now and I need to eat some lunch and then go run some errands. So, all right, I will see y'all next time. Thank you so much. Bye.